Brandon Bradley, Anson Winder here on Cougar Sports ESPN 960, addressing some of the racial tensions. What are your biggest concerns right now as it relates to, America? Let's talk about America because, obviously, as a white male, I love America, right? Everything's been good. I've been blessed. People say privileged, I say blessed. I've been blessed with two parents, loved me, reared me, educated me. There's no reason for me not to be successful, not to be safe, not to have all the things that I dream, right? It's the American dream. For you guys, it's a little bit different, maybe a little bit more difficult, right? Not to say that those opportunities aren't there, but it may be there's a few more obstacles. There's a few more issues. There could be prejudice, could be racism, there could be hate. There's a lot out there, more variables is what I would call them. What's your biggest concern right now as you see these most recent events unfolding for yourselves and for your family, for the nation, for our communities?
Ooh, I think the biggest worry, and I think what I hope doesn't get misconstrued through all of this, is that whether you're black, white, Asian, Hispanic, doesn't matter. I think everyone has a sincere appreciation and gratitude for the country we live in, right? I think there's people who, sometimes with their message, it doesn't come across that way. But even through all of this, black people probably haven't had it the best through, their period of time through the United States. But at the same time, it's like, hey, this is still one of the best countries in the world. It's just these obstacles that we have to get over to make us even greater, I think, as a nation. And so I think that's the message that needs to stay strong amongst everybody is, hey, I think whether, white, black, whoever's having the conversation understands that, hey, we're just trying to make the country better. It's not about it being terrible or us not liking it or whatever the case may be. It's about making it better for everybody.
Brandon, your biggest concerns right now?
I think my first initial concern is my kids. I have 4 kids who obviously are black and will be seen as black no matter the shade of their skin tone, and the battles that they will have to constantly fight, the battles that they will have to figure out how to maneuver through. Kind of how Desmond was talking about those situations where they have to decide, is this a time where I stand up and defend myself or defend those who look like me? Or is it one of those times where I need to be quiet so people won't look at me as the aggressor or the angry black person? Those are concerns that probably more so than ever have cycled through my head so many times over the past week and a half, 2 weeks. Having to teach them how to handle themselves so that they aren't seen, any other way than who they are. And then the other biggest thing is it's just the concern that everything that is happening right now, the unity that is being shown across the world, the globe, the purpose of all the words that have been shared, the protests, all those things don't get lost. They don't get...
It's not fleeting.
Exactly, it's not fleeting. They don't get forgotten, because of other things. And they don't get forgotten a month later when things have calmed down. Unfortunately, another black person had to die in order for us to get to this point, for us to be able to decide to, okay, we need to unite. But I do believe that because of his death or because of that loss, he has created, or that situation has created, an opportunity for all of us to discuss something. And you and Desmond mentioned it when he was on. Now you have to decide, am I here to support what they're trying to accomplish, the black people, the people of color? Or am I going to continue to sit on the fence? Or am I the complete opposite? And I think that's important. I think that is a conversation that has to be had. And like Desmond said, we all have to check ourselves. Where do we stand? Where am I in this?
Yeah. Have an opinion. Get
exactly.
educated.
Because
I'm at fault too.
Right. At the end of the day, I don't think it comes down to color. It's what's right and what's wrong. Black people are trying to fight for rights that we deserve, not that we have to earn or that we're hoping for. Like, these are civil rights that everyone else in this country has. So it's just, to me, it's right or wrong, and I think that's what it comes down to.
I mean, we ask, okay, do we start at one place, or where's the one place we start? And I don't know if there is just one place.
I don't know.
What I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit of everything. I think it's, reform with the justice system, like Brandon mentioned. I think it's education, because it's grassroots, right? Mm-hmm. Kids, have to be taught that, hey, as a minority, I can be successful. But if I don't see people that look like me, how am I supposed to know, what to get to or what I can strive to be? So I think it's education, it's housing, it's your financial situation, it's financial education. So I mean, I think, even if you don't, pick one and you earmark that as a start point, you do a little bit in all of these areas and see where the growth happens. Because it's hard to say there's just one.
To your point, though, it's about creating autonomy and creating personal responsibility, right? To help progress. But as we've talked about, there are some institutional things that limit and stymie that progress. You could be one of the most competent individuals and hardworking individuals, but you're still going to go through barriers that white males, white women may not have to do it. Now, Brandon's from the South, right? Segregation and racism is alive and well in the South. When I went to JUCO, right, I had a bunch of dudes from Dade County on my team. I'm the only white dude at cornerback, all right? So I'm around a bunch of gold tooth, dreadlocks, Dade County, MIA, like dudes. And I was like, man, I don't know how, I'm adapting, I'm learning the culture, I'm learning the lingo, I'm learning everything, But like, segregation is real, man. Racism is real. Like, that's what they taught me. It's real. Ben, it's not for you, but this is real. And it was kind of interesting to them because they'd never seen a white cornerback before. Like, no, what is this dude? I had to prove myself, right? I had to almost be adopted into. I saved all 6 of them from drowning because none of them could swim. Ben, help! Ben, post-practice swim. Couldn't swim with the lick. So explain, because like I said, Anson's perspective is different. Brian Logan being, like, let's say it, light-skinned brother. There's racism within the black community too about dark brothers. Brandon, you're a little bit darker complexion. You come from the South. I want your story. I want your perspective on racism and prejudice within your society, within your community.
Okay. First, let me touch on the whole fatherless thing.
Okay.
Okay. I grew up, obviously, like I mentioned, my father wasn't around for a big chunk of my life. But I feel like I turned out to be a pretty solid dude because of my mother.
Yeah.
And not just my mom, but obviously my mom, she's with me every day, as much as she could be. But there was tons of other people in my life that helped me to become who I am today. I had friends who grew up that didn't have mom or dad. And I had friends that grew up who just had dad. I feel like dad not being around obviously does play a role in it as far as when it comes to raising a man.
Yeah.
You don't have that role model right there for you to see. But you also have fathers who are around that aren't a great role model anyway.
Yep.
So am I really at an advantage if I have a father that's in my home that is not teaching me the things that I need to know to be successful or to be a man or how to treat a woman or any of those things, right? So not having a father does play a part in it, but I don't think it is as big as an effect as people try to make it. And I also feel like it only becomes an issue in the black community. Like the black community isn't the only community where fathers aren't available or around. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You can talk to a white person whose dad was a businessman. He was there, but 18 hours of the day he was trying to grow his business.
Oh, I see that all the time.
I'm sure you do, right?
I see that in affluent Mormon societies. The state president ain't never home.
Exactly.
And the baby daughter, she's off doing whatever. She didn't have that.
Right.
The son was, he's a product of affluence and not having dad around.
Right. But when we talk about it as a group, it's always mentioned as a negative thing in the black community, right? Dad wasn't there. You know what I mean? So I feel like, obviously, ideal situation, you have mom, dad, right? But not everyone is fortunate to have that. And I feel like it is each individual's job to take what they can take from all those who have been put in their life to teach them, to rear them, to help them be better than who they are in that current moment. You know, I have white women that I hold at a very high level because they were important to me. They were important to me being who I am today, right? I have, white males from church that have played a part in it. I have friends, black friends, male and females who have played a part. So I feel like you mentioned earlier how blessed you are. I feel like we've all been blessed to have certain people in our lives to help us be who our Heavenly Father wants us to be. Dad, mom, auntie, grandma, cousin, friend, sister. It doesn't matter.
Takes a
right?
village.
At the end of the day, we're all a family, right? So we can all learn from each other. Now, moving on to my experience. You are 100% correct. Racism is alive and well in the South.
The South is
100%.
different, yo.
It's been that way.
Yeah.
And I had Andrew Rich actually asked me, Brian Logan, Corby the other day, do you think the South, Georgia, Florida, Texas, is more racist than Utah? And without a doubt, 100% is more racist. The difference is, in the South, it's blatant. They will let you know, it's not a secret. And because of the history in the South, it's okay. Like, it's okay for me to tell you.
It's the reality.
Yeah, it's the reality. It's, you might not like it, but history tells me I am safe and I'm fine to treat you however I feel like you should be treated, right? Here in Utah, it's more of a lack of understanding, right?
There's ignorance and
Right.
sensitivity.
Right.
I see it all
So
the time.
it's like a lot of situations here, it's just the lack of not knowing, the lack of knowledge, the lack of experience. You know what I mean? Which in some situations doesn't make you feel any better, but you have to understand it's different.
It can be more frustrating.
Yeah, more frustrating.
Because of the expectation.
And then I feel like here they get so much of their opinion of my culture from the media, right? It honestly blows my mind how Desmond was talking. Like, there's people who know me, who've known me for a big chunk of my life, right? But still will base their thought process or their ideas on black men based on something someone else has said or something they've seen on the media. When they have a real life experience.
Tangible
That has not been anything like what they're sharing. You know what I mean? And that blows my mind. And that is one of those things where it's like, it's hard for white people to be the minority in that belief.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's hard for them to stand in a circle of their peers when everyone in that circle is saying one thing, for them to be like, no, that's not true. I know so-and-so and so-and-so, or I had experience with so-and-so and so-and-so, and it was nothing like that. It's hard for them. You know what I mean? And I've had teammates, I've had friends reach out to me, hey, what can I do? My main thing I tell them, be my voice in your circle, right? You know me.
Yeah.
We have experiences, real experiences. Go to your circle, and when it comes up, you be my voice. You share with them your experience with me and with Brian Logan and with Corby Eason, right? Andre Salisbury. You share your experience, right? So they can get a better understanding or hopefully try to balance out everything that they've taken negative from the media and what someone else has said, right? That's where I think it starts, right?
Yeah.
Most likely, I won't be in your circle then. I won't be able to share my story. I won't be in Rich's or Scott Johnson's circle, but they will.
I advise her, like, hey, Pete, what you doing?
This ESPN 960 highlight has been brought to you by Ortho Pros of Utah.